it's 9 p.m. in RTD. It's time to English New Edition. For tonight's headlines, we have the meeting of the Committee for Preparations of Eid al-Fitr prior site. For the international scene in the Middle East, Palestine announces its withdrawal from all agreement with Israel. Welcome to our newsroom. President Gelle expressed his best wish to his Azerbaijani counterpart on the occasions of the National Day of Azerbaijan. President Ismail Gelle, in a message to his Azerbaijani counterpart Ilham Aliyev, on Wednesday expressed his warm congratulations on the anniversary of Azerbaijan's National Day. In his message, the Djiboutian head of state also wished more progress, development, prosperity to the brotherly and friendly people of Azerbaijan. The people and government of Djibouti join me in expressing their sympathy and friendship to the sisters nation of Azerbaijan on the occasions of the commemoration of its National Day, wrote President Ismail Gelle. Our country is all the more willing to increase its level of exchanges and contacts with Azerbaijan because our two nations share many values and similarities. Our two nations share many common values and similarities, he continued. You can be sure, Mr. President, that you will always find all the support you need from the people and government of Djibouti to strengthen relations of friendship and cooperation between our two countries and our two peoples. He noted, in the same vein, reiterate his best wish to President Aliyev and all his fellow Azerbaijanis. Prime Minister Abdulkader Kamil Mohammed has chaired on Wednesday at the People's Palace the meetings of steering committee to fight against COVID-19. This meeting was devoted to the intensifications of fight against COVID-19 with the generalized applications of the 37 rules. That's to say, test and treat. The reflection is also around specific and vulnerable people to give them a priority in the process of care, but also by loving and especially screening greater protectionist strategy. The participants stressed the main objective must remain the protection of a population, whatever the strategy, never that continues. The Secretary General of the Ministry of Health, Dr. Saleh Benoita Turab, gave a daily press report on the epidemic of COVID-19 in Djibouti. 1,123 tests have been carried out, 210 patients positive cases to COVID-19, 19 patients cured, and 2 deaths. In the general balance sheet, the situation is as follows. 20,056 tests have been performed, 1,828 positive cases, 1,052 cases are confirmed cured, and 9 deaths in total. Let's remain vigilant. As part of the preparations of the site of Eid al-Fitr prayer, announced at the end of blessed month of Ramadan, the Minister of Muslim Affairs, Culture and Waqf, Momin Hassan Barre, chaired meetings at the People's Palace, bringing together representatives of the mayor offices, public bodies such as Soniad, Ovidi and Adiar in civil protection. The main theme of this meeting is the rehabilitations of Eid prayers, which will be celebrated after a few days. This operation will be devoted, as usual, to the development and watering of the ground, connection of electricity and water installation, sound system, microphone, and the alignment of the row of prayers for the respect of distances. This is a concerted action that comes in the wake of the partial lifting of containment measures to counter the spread of coronavirus. For his part, the minister announced that on this occasion that after the feast of Eid al-Fitr, religious services will resume and the mosque will reopen to welcome the faithful and celebrate Friday prayers. This measures marks the gradual return to normal life after 2 months of confinement following the COVID-19 pandemic. The Secretary General of the Ministry of Labor and Trade jointly chaired a meeting at INAP this morning. The purpose of this meeting is to launch the operations of the due diligence control carried out by the inspection services of these two ministries. The control will begin tomorrow in the capital. The meeting was attended by technical advisors, the director of INAP, Sharmak Idris, Inspector General Mr. Abdi Farah Idle, and in his speech, the General Inspectors of Labor, Abdi Farah Idle, stressed that the operation is consistent in enforcing the sanitary instructions of the Ministry of Health to the local trader and to sensitize them on the wearings of masks in order to stop the spread of virus, which is always present. The Secretary General of the Ministry of Labor in charges of Reform Administration, Abdallah Ali Muhammad, has reminded the inspectors and controllers that their mission is to enforce the measures of barrier gestures by companies and enterprises of the private sector. For his part, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Trade confirmed the words of his counterpart. The Ministry of Environment, in collaboration on support of UNDP, this morning delivered food to vulnerable households in the coastal areas. This initiative is the result of the several meetings organized by the Ministry of Environment, UNDP, and UNFD to set up support for coastal populations affected by economic impact of containment. The life of households living in coastal areas has been impacted by the general containment measures that have been decreed by the authorities for several weeks because of the COVID-19 pandemic. These households were unable to continue their income-generating activities and live in very difficult conditions. This food distributions of which will be ensured by UNICEF and the regional authorities will relieve households living in the coastal areas of the countries. The ceremony was presided over by the Secretary General of the Environment, Dini Abdallah, in the presence of UNDP representative Fatima El Sheikh and the Director of Environment Hussein Abdullahi Rirash and the Vice President of UNFT Hasna Ahmed Bilil. For her part, the Vice President of UNFT, Hasna Ahmed Bilil, received the donations of food for families living in the coastal areas of the Republic of Djibouti, very impacted by the special measures of containment. She thanked, on behalf of the First Lady Khadra Mahmoud Haid, the Minister of Environment and UNDP for associations of UNFT with an outreach organizations with a wide coverage. For his part, the Secretary General of the Ministry of Environment, Dini Abdallah Umar, who presided the ceremony for the handing over of food supplies for families living in coastal areas, said it was essential to accompany and support households whose living conditions are very difficult in this period of the pandemic. As is customary in the blessed month of Ramadan, the popular Rally of Progress RPP was present for 8 consecutive years to distribute new clothes to orphans and children from poor families. It is in this perspective that a strong delegation is led by the National Secretary for Youth of RPP, Mahad Hussein, and accompanying the Member of Parliament, the President of the Regional Council of Dakhil, all from the RPP movement, went to the headquarters of the RPP Annex in the city of Unity. To the children's, the president of RPP Annex, the member of his offices, did not fail to recall that this noble initiative, the party from which more than 5,000 orphan children and from modest families benefit this year, is a noble initiative. In Obok, the 9 sessions of the project servant of 2 holy places, King Salman bin Abdul Aziz, of food distribution for the year 2020, in the region of Obok, precisely at 200 families in two localities have benefited from this aid, which consists of basic food products such as sugar, flour, oil. The Deputy Prefect Ali Maki, locally elected Ali Hassan Mekke, and the representative of the embassy were present. This initiative aims mainly at the meeting the needs of poor families by providing food support consisting of rice, sugar, flour, oil, and tomatoes. This charity project is part of ongoing support of our country's receives from the government of the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, especially during the blessed months of Ramadan. Also, within the framework of the reductions of propagation of COVID-19, in the civil protections carried out activities of pulverization and disinfection of the public places. In this task, lately, the civil protection, in collaboration with the National Institute of Public Health and SPD, has carried out disinfection action in Balbala, particularly in the sector of Pika 12, in addition to activities of destructions of larvicide and space spraying, distributions of larvicidal product in latrines led by civil defense agents. The Secretary for Youth and Sports makes the decisions to resume sports activities, suspended championship, and closed door to match. This coronavirus is shaking up the world of sport. The measures diverge, but everyone is keeping a watchful eye on these new situations that has taken its hold in sport. It is in this context that the Department of Sports of the Secretary for Youth and Sport organized yesterday at the People's Palace a working meeting with the various sports federation. Objectives was to discuss, take stock of the current year 2019 to 2020, and to see the possibility of resuming and not activities once the deconfinement. It was also discussed how to maintain a balance between the need to resume sports activity and the need to preserve the health of athletes and players. On the evening of the 17 May 2020, the elements of the second district arrested several individuals involved in the manufactures of counterfeit banknotes. These individuals using the latest technologies equipment produce large quantities of 10,000 francs, 5,000, 2,000 and 1,000 banknotes. This morning, the cases was presented to the press, listening to the Lieutenant Fuad Aden Hussein, head of department of the second district, at the microphone of our colleague. For the international scene in Palestine announces its withdrawal from all agreement with Israel and the United States. Following the Israelis' decisions to annex Palestinian territories, Mahmoud Abbas announced Palestine's withdrawal from all agreement with Israel and United States. Palestine is withdrawing from all agreements with Israel and United States because of Tel Aviv's intentions to annex parts of the West Bank. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas said the Palestinian Liberation Organizations and the Palestinian State are withdrawing as today from all agreements signed with the government of the United States and Israel, including those related to security, Abbas said. This is it for the news. Thanks for watching us.